Hello, I just did a whole trade recap and I didn't realize my mic was completely muted. So I'm gonna go through this very quickly today because I literally just went through the whole thing. So I did win my trade today. It was up $187. We are up 101 on the P&L with 1.1k left on the funded to pass. So coming into pre-market, we swept out Asia session highs. London swept out Asia session highs, and we made this SMT. If we made a short-term SMT on Nasdaq, or it wasn't really, yeah, on Nasdaq, and boom, and we had liquidity here. I was looking for longs. I wanted to do longs. I didn't. Okay, we had this gap here off of Monday market open, and we also had on Nasdaq this fair value gap here, which some people don't regard as a fair value gap, but I do because price never got into this range during the weekend. So I think it's fair value gap. It acts like a fair value gap, and it did. It did me justice. So yeah, I know some people don't regard it as a fair value gap though, but I do. So market open, and I was looking for longs because I don't want to deal with this gap because this could act as a fair value gap. This could not act as a fair value gap, and it get inversed. Like stuff could happen. But this is just liquidity resting here. I was willing to look for shorts too, but I was only willing to take shorts if there was a clear signal of my strategy, like if we had a good setup. So um, market opened, and then there was this 15-minute fair value gap here. Oh, well, it was a 30-minute fair value gap, and it got respected. It kept getting respected, so there was that, and then it entered into the gaps, and if we scale down even more, there's this 5-minute gap that I respected. So very clean price action overall. And then zoom into the 1 minute. And let's look at Nasdaq. Is there anything on Nasdaq worth highlighting? Not really. Nasdaq was quite slow entering this gap and breaking through compared to ES, as ES was the leading index. I completely forgot at one point that this SMT did SMT was a thing until like midway through here. And then I saw that we respected this fair value gap on the 5 minute, went down, and then I went down to the 1 minute time frame, and then we had another fair value gap here, respected it, and we had an SMT. I'm not sure where the SMT was. There was an SMT somewhere here. In the other trade recap, I couldn't really find it either. Oops. But I remember there being an SMT right around there. Inside this price action, there was a 1 minute SMT. So I decided to go short on Nasdaq, and I was quite nervous at the start when I did take this trade because it was my second ever trade and I didn't want it to be another losing day. I only risked around $130 because the contract size was again on one, but I didn't mind that because if we look at the take profits that I wanted to set, there was only only one liquidity point where I could really set my take profit anyways. So I was like, okay, this is still a good trade. It doesn't matter. And de-risking isn't a bad thing, especially if you lost yesterday, build your confidence up slowly with small wins. So I didn't mind that. And I took the trade off of break of structure right around uh we broke structure here and then boom, and then I entered off this candle when we respected this and we got a big leg down. I entered and we were in drawdown for a little bit, hovering around it, but then we formed this fair value gap here, massive candle down, and after it got respected once, I was like, yeah, we've got this in the bag. And they respected again and again and again, and it kept respecting. The scary thing was there was a bullish SMT forming on Nasdaq and ES being the leading index. So I did get a bit scared, but I think through market experience and intuition, I knew not to close the trade earlier because it's a 1 minute SMT and we have a fair value gap right here and liquidity is resting right here. Like there's literally no way liquidity doesn't get swept there. And then after a bit of time, we slowly won the trade. And yeah, $187 up on the day. We need 1.1k more faster funded. It's looking good. I'm feeling confident. I think the goal is to pass the funded this week and then to focus on payouts after that. So yeah, I never looked at this. I never looked at commissions. Commission was small. Okay, so that is the trade recap. That is all for today. Hopefully we keep winning trades and hopefully we pass this funded. See you guys tomorrow in the next trade recap.